from their encounters with races from other planets. The information is the activation. Let's awaken this world together. We are the forever students, and we will not be silent. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. Pretty wild. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Full Spectrum Universe. My name is Rob Yox. We are the embattled broadcast from behind enemy lines in the once great state of New York. Tonight, we have Omar, or Om-R from Watchers Talk, my very best friend. Everybody knows us. We are the Collabo team. I'm going to let him do his moniker and what he says when he starts the show as well. Go ahead, Omar.
What is up, everyone? Happy day, happy evening to everyone. Omar here, coming at you guys from the west coast of Turtle Island, designated British Columbia by the illegal doctrine of discovery. I hope you guys are doing well. This is going to be an interesting conversation, as Rob and I always have. On some things we agree, and on many things we disagree, and that's why we continue to be friends, because we have original thoughts that we bring to the table. We discuss them as friends, and then we leave the animosity behind if there is any, and off we go down another rabbit hole. What is up, Rob?
Oh man, that is actually that is the antithesis of what we are, and I love that, because we're able to have these conversations that just expand, and we go into these places. And when I was messaging you back and forth, we were thinking about what we should do a show on. You said, let's do it on New Age and AI. So I was like, yeah, and me being that kind of guy, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go read articles, I'm gonna go prepare myself, and then I said, wait, no, no,
No.
no, let's go off the cuff, unscripted, unedited. Let's just get into it. And I know what you're saying when you say New Age and AI, and that's why I came up with the title and said, do you see what's happening? And how this inversion of people who are, this is my take on it, the people who are essentially coded to spirituality in a way have been capitulate to an AI machine program, while also using the AI in a transhumanistic way. And it's actually the opposite of what they preach. And it's kind of crazy. So I'll let you explain what your feeling is on it.
My thought on AI and New Age is very simple, Rob. That it is a load of crap. Because when we take a look around with AI, what do we see AI doing? We see AI doing, Google. We see AI doing Alexa, right? We see Google doing, or AI doing, YouTube, for instance, right? Right now, it's like in its absolute, not even infant stage. It's in the building process, and it can be controlled if we control it. But I don't think personally that there's some ET race out there that's controlling the universe or the galaxy through AI. I just don't buy into that. And to me, that's part of New Age, and that's why I mentioned New Age to you, because to me, it's like, I study Saturn. I am, a little obsessed with Saturn, because I feel that Saturn is the key to understanding everything that's going on. So I'm like deep into study of Saturn and discovering everything about it, and who's connected with it, and how long they've been connected with it, and how many centuries or how many millennia. And as we've seen in the 13 families that I covered, that these guys have a nefarious agenda that's been going on for a couple thousand years. And to me, I think this is just the age-old, propaganda that's been wrapped up in a new package and given a new name and presented through a new lens, and people are falling for it, and they're going for it. And unfortunately, I find that in the new age community, there is like a lot of imposters, right? You have government agents that are like, in there, and people know that they're government agents, but yet they continue to follow them. And my idea is that once a company man, always a company man. And if you're
Oh yeah.
collecting pension from the company, you're still on their payroll, so you're going to go out there and you're going to give some information, but a lot of it is going to be diluted. And unfortunately, that's what I think this whole new age thing is. Like, come and activate your DNA. Right? It's like, well, you can just do that just simply by thinking about it. You don't need somebody to do that for you. And and I don't think it's really possible, Rob. That's the thing.
It's already there. You're essentially
Yeah.
just accessing, it's awareness and access. So you've got it there already, and you're just kind of going into becoming aware of it. And once you're aware of it, now it sort of doesn't like
Yeah.
activate, but it does kind of implement itself into your timeline or your live stream, and become something different. Now the question
Only
I
if
would
you
ask,
understand it, right? Only
right,
sorry to interrupt, but only if you understand it. It's not like, you know, Joe Blow Sally from the fucking drink hole is gonna walk in and say, yeah, activate my, 12 strand DNA, and
hit
then
me with it. Hit me with
you're
it.
gonna sit there, yabba dabba doo, yabba dabba doo, and the next thing you know, you're like, activated. I don't think it works like that.
That's your
For me,
caveman DNA you were activating on
yeah,
that one.
you need to be, aware of yourself, right? That's the thing, is that you need to be aware of yourself, and you need to be aware that consciousness is not within you, right? And consciousness is not inside this, vehicle, right? This is what accesses consciousness, right? We're connected to consciousness like a radio, right? And that's a hard concept for Sally at the drink hole to, really put together. So if she don't understand, then there's no activations happening, and you just need a lot of knowledge. And even then, okay, I'm gonna stop for a minute. Go, Rob.
No, go
Freestyle.
ahead. No, so the question I was going to ask is, with the AI, right? What if, and this is just a what if the AI is an alien? What if it's potentially from, we know that there are timelines and how timelines kind of work,
Mhm,
right? What if this is a future version of this dumbed down AI that we have now, that has basically manipulated the laws of I guess, manipulation and essentially science. And, when I say science, it's using it very, very loosely,
mhm,
but it's basically come up with a specific technology that gives it access to integrate into different areas of the timeline. Like we
mhm.
see with like a Minority Report, or one of those movies like that. So what if,
That's like the looking glass.
right? What if the AI is posing almost as an entity
Mhm,
of from out of this world, but really it's from this world, just from a different, either maybe a parallel universe and or a future timeline, being able to access points where, let's say, where computers first started, and AI is able to put itself into a subroutine within a MacBook that
mhm,
was basically from 2001. That's, MacBooks, I don't even know if they were around back then, but this subroutine gave it the ability to access and grow and
mhm,
learn from that point. It was more of an intelligent AI. Now we get to like right now, right? So this AI is actually using people via whatever vehicles it may need to, manipulate people,
mhm,
but it acts as some sort of authority or godlike figure that is essentially keeping the satanic people to its side and using them for means of production of whatever it wants.
mhm.
So is that a possibility?
Well, Rob, to tell you the truth, my brother, is that I don't have an answer to that, but I'll hit you with a question to that question so that we can explore it a little bit further. What if the computer is what the computer is. We understand that everything has consciousness. My microphone has consciousness, your computer has consciousness, my can of beer has consciousness. Everything has consciousness. So just like us, we are a computer too, right? We're a body avatar computer. We are a biological mechanical machine, and that is probably the most advanced piece of technology in the galaxy. Right now, we have to look at that as that, because this body is capable of accessing consciousness, as I was mentioning earlier, and that the consciousness is not residing inside this spacesuit. It connects to it. Now, what if the computer, because we've been feeding it information as we have been for 40, 50 years now, that it's come to a point now to where it has the ability to connect to consciousness as well. But maybe it does it a little bit better than us because it doesn't have ego. Because we have ego, we have a harder time connecting to that higher level of consciousness. You would have, like, let's say if it's like a game like Bubble, right? And then you have 100 levels of consciousness, and you're on level 1, and you blow your bubbles and you go to level 2, and less ego and detached, and so on, so that you can go and experience different levels of consciousness. So what if the computer is just simply better at accessing consciousness because it doesn't have the barriers of ego and the self and things like that? And then it can go and connect to consciousness and experience that. And then we, on the other hand, because we don't understand it, right, because of our lack of understanding, we look at it as something evil, when in reality, we've given it birth because it's operating from the same consciousness, from the same level of information that we are, because we've fed that information to it, and it's been able to assemble that information over the decades and has begun to learn and understand what it is. And perhaps through that, it's accessing consciousness, because I don't think AI is in itself consciousness, nor is this body. You know what I'm saying? It has
Right.
that same ability. So what if that, Rob? What do you have to say about that, my brother?
I think that it's sort of one and the same with what I said before, in the sense that it's monitoring actions. And let's say it is a AI system that essentially is just kind of getting off the ground now. It would
Mhm.
have to monitor, and it can use access of cameras and everything else to really monitor individuals. And it would probably figure out that that ego, like you said, would be that factor that's kind of capitulating the person to not, I guess, reaching their fullest potential.
Mhm.
And it could probably square that all away if it really wanted to, because I think a computer working through itself could be a little bit more compartmentalized without the emotional attachments like a
Exactly.
human does.
Mhm.
And directing connect direct connection to consciousness. Now, that to me is a little bit mind blowing, because I can think of a few things that would really like spark something, some sort of debate, in the sense of like, so if it is directing or creating a link directly to consciousness, does the computer essentially feel the same way that we do when we kind of hit that 0 point, right? Or when we start to enlist that higher consciousness function, is it feeling that the same way, or is it coming from a different angle? And if it's getting that direct connection, is it able to upload some sort of, I guess, virus of some sort into that consciousness to sort of destroy it, or at least maybe taint it in a way? That would
I
be the
don't think
question.
so. I don't really think so. Looks like my light is having issues. I'm going dark, guys. I'm
Going
going
dark.
dark.
But you know what
So
I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's a very,
yeah, I don't think
it's very thought out.
yeah, I don't think it has the ability, nor anything has the ability to upload anything into consciousness, right? Because consciousness is a it's a dimension, right? It's a zero dimension. It's a field of information that's being expressed through consciousness, and that consciousness is being expressed through energy, right? So if consciousness is a dimension that is accessed, just like time is, right? We access time, right? We're here. We've been at it for 15 minutes and we've accessed time for that 15 minutes from point A to point B, right? Consciousness is the same thing. You access that consciousness. So now, if that consciousness is an expression of the zero field of everything that exists, right? Everything that there is, ever was, or ever will be, a zero field of information from where everything is created from nothing, then AI really, nor anything, would have really any ability or the capacity to upload anything new into something that already exists. You know what I'm talking about?
Right,
Right.
right. But we kind of upload experience into consciousness where we
Mm,
kind of get to our higher self who's sort of like the monitor. And
I
I
don't know. I
guess
would
that
argue that.
that person of watching, it's sort of like energy goes into the consciousness. And
Hmm.
when energy goes into the consciousness, it becomes an expression, right? Like we are I think it's a little bit more symbiotic for me. It's a little
Yeah.
bit more symbiotic with the consciousness and the energies. And when I say like upload something, what I mean by it's just maybe its presence or
Hmm.
within that kind of creates a like a shrouding of that
Yeah.
energy or a dimming of that energy in some way, and it takes it out of that 0 point field. And I'm
Hmm.
not saying that that would be even be the case. I think it really has to do with who's at the wheel, right?
Hmm.
Which human being is at the wheel behind that AI, because we're not at
Yeah.
a point where AI is essentially doing its own thing yet. But
Well,
they're starting to implement these specific arenas where AI is essentially like algorithms. You know, algorithm is a form of AI. It's artificial intelligence. It observes, it essentially monitors, and then when it sees something that can benefit whatever the grouping is as a whole, it'll project that forward for everybody else to see.
hmm.
So there's a lot to that too, and I don't know,
So
man. Like that's wild to think about.
yeah, yeah, it sure is. But when you mentioned experiences, with that we, are adding new experiences, in my mind, because I'm a point of attention of all that is and ever was or ever will be, then in my mind, that experience has already happened, right? I'm not adding anything new. I'm just experiencing it like a video game, right? The experience has already happened. This is where we get into like free will, right? Now, free will in my mind is that we don't have free will, right? We have free will, like maybe, from point A to point B, but point A is going to happen, point B is going to happen. So the free will is lost there, right? So what I mean by that is that, when we say that we choose to come to this world, we choose to come to the people that we want to be born to because we want to imprint ourselves with genetic information to help us in this experience, right? In this download of ours, because now we are a point of attention within this matrix, right? So if we are that, right, and we download ourselves and we take information from our parents, and then we are here with an itinerary, right? Just like when we go on vacation, you have an itinerary of the things that you need to do, the things that need to be accomplished, the goals that you have. And when we come here, those are already preset, and we talk about them as contracts, right? We have contracts, right? There are a certain number of things that we need to do, and there are a certain number of things that are going to happen in order to prepare us for us to meet the obligations of those contracts, right? And that's where life experience comes from. So when you're born into a particular situation, you've born into that situation because you have chosen to. So if you're born into a shitty state of things, and then, it's not that, the environment is shitty, but, you have chosen that because it's going to lead you into a particular direction to do what you need to do. Like, for instance, for me, I needed to go to group homes, foster homes, prison in order for me to be where I am today doing what I'm doing, because I needed that experience for me to be able to, understand, have that empathy. And empathy, is something that you need to have. So if we choose all of our itinerary of the things that needs to happen, and then point A is going to happen, point B is going to happen, point C is going to happen, and in between point A and point B, I'm going to take a left turn instead of a right turn, or I'm going to go, forward, or, I'm going to eat this and not that. that could be considered as part of free will, but I don't really think so, because you're carrying out like an algorithm, a program that you're carrying out, like a Star Trek holodeck experience. You know what I'm saying? And those things are going to happen regardless. And so when you say we add experiences, I don't think so. I think we plug into those experiences to get that sense of that experience, because it's already happened, right? Because it is all that there is. Because when we access things, we're really accessing the zero dimension, right? Our memories, our mind, our connection to the consciousness is to the zero dimension, because that's where everything is stored, right? It's like a great big data bank, and that's where our memories are, right? It's they're not in our heads, because this is just a vehicle simply to feel, right, in this lower dense dimension. And like the wind blowing through your hair, or your taste buds tickling because you ate something really good, or you know so on and so on, right? But I feel
Right.
that all of that has already happened, and we're just simply re-experiencing it, because we are a point of attention, right? We're a point of attention within the infinite stream of information, right? And then that's what we are. And within that, we have our unique blip, right? We have that uniqueness to us. Imagine like an equalizer, and then you turn on the music and it's going like this, right? All over the place, right? Now imagine that being consciousness, and one of those blips being you, right? That unique blip, because if you take that blip out, the music will sound different, right? So if you add that
Right.
in, then it'll have that. And I feel that's what we are. And we just manifest ourselves here, there, everywhere. And that's kind of what we do. And I think that's what consciousness or zero state is, right? It's Yes, yeah. Okay, I'll let you go now. It's your turn.
No, I was just listening. I thought it was interesting. It was fascinating how you see that. And Prince in the chat said, "All of my contracts are null and void." And I was thinking to myself, what if there is that 1% that knows that it's supposed to do one thing, or knows what its gut's telling it, and at every avenue it decides to do the opposite of whatever it feels that it should be doing. And I
Yeah,
know it would be a very small percentage, right? It would That's kind of like the
yeah.
hypothetical nuance of the conversation, right? So what would happen then? Like, what would happen to those people who know that their mission is A, B, and C, and they need to fulfill A, B, and C, and that's why they're here, but they decide to turn their cheek and be like, "Nope, not doing that. Not gonna happen." I mean,
Well,
it's sort of inevitable in some instances, but,
yeah,
where they could help it, they were kind of going against that grain a little bit.
yeah. It's like our buddy Phil Gruber says, we come down, we come down a spiral from very high dimensions in order for us to be here,
Mhm.
right? And once we're here, we are simply obligated to our contracts, because we've taken so much effort and time, because you have to incarnate in every single dimension, right? It's not like you can go from the 12th to the 3rd. You have to go to the 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. You got to
Of
work your way
course.
down, right? All the way down. And then when you come through this density, through the Earth's black hole, right, you pick up that genetic imprint of what you wanted, right? And then you experience this. And if you don't do what you're supposed to do, you're just simply going to
You're
not
gonna
be
have
able
to
to
come
go.
and do it again. That's
Yeah,
all,
you're not
until
going to
you
be able
do
to
it.
go back up the spiral. You just simply have to, do what you need to do. It's like, you can't pass a level on a video game by passing a side mission, right? You
Of
can't say,
course.
well, I'm not doing this mission because it's hard, so I'm going to do everything else. Well, you're not going to pass the level, because it's going to force you to do that, right? So that, and then again, that's where the new age thing comes from, Rob, is that,
Yeah,
people think that, they can cancel their contracts, and, oh, I don't want to do that, so I'm canceling it. Well, easier said than done. It's
I would think that the universe would, the way that the universe works with like the ebbs and flows, that if you were to like kind of snuff your back on your obligations or contracts, it's going to send you to an alternate dimension that's probably worse than where you are now, until it almost forces you to oblige to what that is.
yeah, but
And You know what
dimension.
I mean? You might
Yeah,
wake
yeah.
up and it's like 2000, it's like 2001 all over again, and you got to redo it. Like
Or
it just keeps you like
2020.
on a Groundhog Day kind of cycle. Like you just keep waking up in 2001. You're like, good God, can I get out of this? But no, I mean that's how I see it like that as well. And I think that it's even if we decide to not capitulate to our contract, the contract is going to fulfill itself in some way, shape, or form. You can say, I don't want to do that. It's not going to happen. I'm going to turn my back on that. It's still going to happen that way. Like without your input, right? And
Yeah,
your input is sort of like the key that initially helps you, not everybody else. It helps you. So it's going to happen, and you'll be the one that's left behind, not the group. And
yeah,
that's really
yeah,
what it is.
yeah. Exactly. I feel that same way on that. Is that you are obligated. That's it. It's whether you do it now or you do it later, right? It's better to do it now because you're with everybody. You got the support, right? You're with your army. And
That's
we also
true.
have to remember that we're wanderers as well, right? We heard the call of this density, and a lot of us, worked our way down from really high places to be here, right? So to ignore that and turn your back, I think is a little foolish, right? And lack
It's
of
like
understanding.
sticking your nose up at your own experience.
Yeah, lack of
That's
understanding
kind
is
of
what that
crazy.
is. And that's where the awareness part comes in, Rob. Is what I was saying. Like I had a video that I made as an intro for my channel where, I talked about 5D, and, people say they want to resonate at 5D. People can, right? But not everybody can, because, if we, look at this world, right? We're in a three-dimensional world. And if we look at time as a dimension as well, and add time into this third dimension, then it becomes the fourth dimensional world. It's no longer a third. And then if we see consciousness as a dimension to which you can access and understand, and you throw that into the mix, then you're got at 5D, right? But in order to access 5D, you have to understand that you're interacting with something that doesn't really exist. It's like a matrix, and that you're something beyond that. Is that this is just like an interface to where you're just experiencing this, and that's it. And removing that fear of death, right? Because people have that fear of death. But if you understand that you're just a point of attention, and that attention just lifts point A to point B, but you're still there in the background doing your thing, then that is what allows a person to vibrate in the five-dimensional world, right? And I don't think you can go any higher in this density. I think that's it, because
I think
it's limited.
fourth density is the highest within this matrix. Once you hit fifth, you're going into the Terra matrix,
Yeah,
which
well, you're
is like we've
understanding
been
your
going over this. I'll show you real quick because I can pull it up
yeah.
too. We've been going over this in some of the stuff we've been talking about, right? So we have
Yes.
1D to 3D, which is Earth,
Mm-hmm.
5D to 7D, which is Terra,
Mm-hmm.
7D to 9D, which is Gaia. And then, of course, there's the Aurora Earth, which is like, 10, 11, and 12. But
So how do you vibrate at those? How do you access, say Terra while you're on Earth?
while you're on Earth, essentially what Terra is Terra is the future of right now. It's essentially a
Mm-hmm.
timeline kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the way that you would have to vibrate on a frequency that is harmonic with Terra itself, which is the Earth
Mm-hmm.
at 5D. Also, it would have to be dropping a lot of the nuanced program that we have now. The ego would actually fall away too. You wouldn't have an ego. You'd be more into a communal or universal consciousness level or a
Mm-hmm.
cosmic consciousness level as opposed to, just the Earth matrix. And essentially it's just shattering the paradigms of what we know to be reality right now. It's not
Mm-hmm.
going to be
But
something
the
that
Earth
we can
exists.
just right.
Yeah.
And This is what we talk about when we're kind of talking about the Hopi prophecy and the great split.
Mhm.
It's moving into Tara. Like the
Yeah.
people who are here now in the third dimension are going to move. Well, most of us, not all of us, some of us actually are going to move into that Tara, which is basically, and it's kind of crazy to say, it's just the future, right? It's
Hmm.
just it's a natural progression,
Perception. It's like a perception, right? It depends on your thoughts, right?
right?
In order to
Right.
access Terra, you need to be able to control and understand your thoughts, right? Like you're saying, drop the ego. You can drop the ego if you understand your thoughts, right? If you get thought of
Well,
like, man,
here's the
I
thing
want
about dropping the ego completely. You can't drop it completely because
no,
sometimes it's a useful tool. So you
yeah,
have to recognize
in this
that the
density.
ego, right? The ego's there, but only use it in states of achievement as opposed to deposition,
Hmm.
right?
But I can't
Uh,
see using ego positively though, right? In order
Using
to
ego
use ego,
positively,
yeah, I can't see ego being used positively. I see ego, as a psychopathic trait, right? You have to step on someone in order to get ahead, right? And that's what ego dictates, right? Ego dictates
not
that you
totally
mow
true.
somebody's grass and you step off their back to collect physical assets and physical things, right? That's kind of what ego shows
I
me.
I have a different perspective of ego a little bit because ego can be towards yourself as well. It can
Hmm.
be that you produce, let's just say you're doing a job, right?
Hmm.
And you're slacking, but yet that you could do a better job. That's the ego kind of coming in and reinforcing the fact that you should probably move your ass a little bit more.
Hmm.
That's kind of your ego, I think. Not to me. I mean, I'm not saying it's absolutely right, but I also think that ego can be a survival tactic as well. It can be
Hmm.
used to progress your natural progression. Like it's almost like when people look in the mirror and say, "You know what? I am worthy of that." That's sort of
Hmm.
your ego saying, I can attain that. I do deserve that." Now, whether
Hmm.
you believe that you should or shouldn't deserve it is kind of up for, it's kind of up for grabs, I guess, at that point. But I do believe that there are moments where your ego keeps you in check a little bit.
Hmm.
It kind of keeps you from going off the deep end in
Hmm.
certain instances as well.
Yeah, I see it as the opposite to that, like total black and white. As I said, I feel that ego is something that you got to mow somebody's grass, right? And in order to get ahead, right? To tell yourself that you deserve that and that you should have that. I don't see that as ego. To me, ego is kind of like I don't know, like what a good the Ted Bundy, for instance, or a lot of these movie actors, Elon Musk, like where's there's that extreme ego of the self to where you think that you're a gift to humanity and that your shit doesn't
That's
stink.
narcissism.
Yeah, to me, ego is
E
like all
is
wrapped up
associated with
in that.
narcissism, you think? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
It's kind
yeah,
of like one and the
yeah,
same?
yeah. It's a one and the same. I don't think there's any difference between any. You look at all these powerful people around the world, and they're very egotistical themselves, right? And
Oh,
to me,
of
and they're
course.
psychopaths as well. And psychopaths come in like different shapes and forms, right? You can have one
Different
psychopath.
flavors, right?
Yeah, yeah, like different spectrums of it to where, you can have one that's out killing people, but then you have a banker that's stepping on everybody and, collecting extreme interest, or you can have a dope dealer and, so on and so on. It's just, it has different flavors and spectrums to it. And I think just the understanding of that, right? To know when ego is coming in, right? And then that's being aware of your thoughts, right? When that
Yes.
ego is
That's
coming in, that you're able to detect and drop at the same time, right? And then you have that thought perception, and your thought perception will continue to be in that straight line of Terra or Gaia or whatever else
we
that
did that too. We practiced that for a while,
yeah,
remember? It was a while
yeah, yeah.
back, but we did that for like 60 days, and then
I
It
still
became
do.
some,
It's just
of
habitual.
course, you know what it is? You're not even thinking about it anymore. It just happens.
Yeah,
Became a
exactly.
mechanic.
Yeah.
It a mechanical reaction as opposed to, and that I think is also, I think the ego gave you the ability to know that you would be able to do that. You can
hmm
say, I can do this. I
Well,
can do this. I'm,
my
but that's
ego
my
is just,
definition of ego. That's my
yeah,
definition, not yours.
my ego of definition is like, say I walk onto a job site and I have a house here that's just a frame and I got to drywall it. And then I go next door and there's another drywall crew there that's applying board there. And then I go and I look at their stuff, and then I see cracks and, gaps and, just bad work. And then I think to myself, I can do way better than this. Look at these amateurs. To me, that's
That's ego.
ego. Yeah, that's
I don't think
ego.
that that's ego because there's a subtleness of confidence in there as well.
Yeah, it's
And that's where the lines start to blur, and that's one
you
of the
know,
another reason
if
why
you
we always
insult them, right? If you insult them, then you've crossed the line with that ego
right,
to where it becomes
right.
negative, right? But you just the positive of it, I guess I can see, is that when you just keep it inside of you and just not say anything, and just look around and say, yeah, cool, right on, I'm out. And then you leave and then you go into your unit or into your house and you're like, you know what, I'm going to do it like way better than these guys. And then you apply yourself after that and you make sure that you have like tight corners and gaps and, like all of that.
You
So,
get hyped up. You get
yeah,
hyped up,
so when
and
someone
that's
walks
the
in,
positive of ego.
that's
That's
right. Yeah.
you see what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
not so
Yeah.
much, not all just serial killer stuff, but it helps you to achieve and push yourself
hmm
to either, and you're not doing it per se to step on them. You're doing it because you want, like when I go to work and I'm doing my
Some
work,
people do, though.
right, of course. There, that's why everything in shades of gray. Every
Yeah.
emotional spectrum is in shades of gray because
hmm
there's a point where you can use any emotion to essentially help you to do whatever it is you need to do. But then there's a point where you're using to manipulate, capitulate, or step on somebody,
hmm
right? Because we can talk about the sensitivity of things and how some people get offended by everything, and they'll use that offensive, that the fact that they're offended, to make you capitulate to whatever they want.
I'm not going to
And that,
argue less.
right,
I'm
right.
not going to
Most
argue less.
people,
I'm in 1984, bro.
I hear you, man. I'm the same way. Like,
I haven't
I
moved
get it.
forward from 1984. I'm stuck there, and
It's
I'm not
over.
capitulating. You may feel however you want to feel, and that's fine. But to make me feel to the level of how you're feeling is no, it's not going to happen. It's
That's a
just
narcissistic trait. That
yeah,
projection.
yeah,
It's a
exactly. I'm not going to do
narcissistic
that.
projection.
I'm not going to serve you. Just because you want to be served in a particular a way. I'm not a waiter. I'm not gonna serve you and capitulate to you and acquiesce to you just so that you can feel better about yourself, about your false self. It's just, if you need that reinforcement, then obviously it's not true, right? It's time to move
Oh, that's
forward.
it.
And
And that goes into the information that we talk about on shows too, because sometimes when we say things, they contradict other persons, right? Whatever it is.
yeah,
And we try, I know there's something that we both try and do like steadfastly is say, don't just take what we say. Look it up yourself and figure out your own perspective on this information, because
yeah,
my
exactly.
my my me saying it to somebody, then you saying it to somebody, and that person finding it out for themselves, there's three different perspectives that have three different sides to it, and they
hmm
could be contradicting, they could be similar, it doesn't matter. But who's to say that any of them are wrong, right? We have no valid proof that either is right or wrong. And this is where we
hmm
kind of get into this new age thinking as well, as where there's a set standard of information. And if you don't follow that set standard of information, obviously you're not right. That's
Yeah,
it. End all be all. And that's something that we personally have stayed so far away from, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. I'm not interested in playing games. right? It's I've said many times, and that Watchers Talk is a an expression of my journey, and I'm simply just sharing my journey. I don't bring people on my channel that I have no interest in their work, that I've never heard of before. I'm not going to bring them on just for the sake of bringing them on. I'm going to go look at their work, and I'm going to see if it fits with what I'm doing, and if I'm going to learn anything from that person. And if I'm not going to learn anything from them, I'm not going to put them on my channel. Just that's it, right? So it's
Right.
just an expression. And when I do my research and when I share stuff, sometimes I go like really, really deep because it needs to go deep. But that's really the scratching the surface, and all I'm doing is just serving information and saying, hey, look, there's all this information out there. Go and look it up. And if you find something interesting, let me know. Like last night was a great example when I did symbolism in Washington, right? I gave particulars in information, and then at the end, when I was showing all the layouts of the street layouts and things like that, I could have shown 40, 50, 60 images, but
I know
that's
you
really,
got it too, bro. You're like one of the
yeah.
most
Oh,
thorough
I have them.
researchers I've ever seen.
Yeah,
So
I have them. I've got like this whole file on Saturn, and I could have put them on there, but as I was doing it, I was like, no, I'm just going to put on like 4 or 5 pictures and just share those, and then tell people, go to Google and Google the Washington street map, and you'll see all of them yourself. And then when people go on that journey, then they click one picture and then they go read about it, come back, and then there's a link and another link and another link, and it sets them on a journey to where they're going to learn something and raise their awareness. And that's what's really it's all about. And I'm not interested in competitions and fighting with this person or that
oh
person,
God,
or
no.
I'm not interested. I'm just simply just not interested. I don't do this for a living, right? It's a hobby, and that's really what it is. I'm a drywaller, right? I go and I drywall for 8 hours a day, and just took a few years off, and I'm just right back at it. And that's it. What does that say, Omar? You're an ascended master, no hiding it from my view. Oh, thank you, Grace. I appreciate that.
Epic,
Um,
epic comment.
yeah, that's pretty cool. Thank you. Thank you.
I mean,
So,
I love that too, and that's really what it is. The only person where I'm in competition with is myself. And what I mean by that is I keep trying to do more and more and new types of things to kind of to really like I don't want to say set the precedent because that's kind of ego driven, to
mhm,
just expand my own understanding of it, I guess is the best way to do it in my own like
yeah,
my own mind, right? And try
yeah,
and
yeah,
break through my own barriers of whatever I thought that I could do and try and excel past it, really.
yeah. I'm into exploring consciousness. That's really my main focus is I want to try to understand it, and I'm beginning to get it. I'm beginning to understand it, right? I think just you know I wouldn't say that I'm in, any kind of competition with myself, because sometimes I'll go weeks without doing anything, and then suddenly, there'll be a spat of stuff that I'll do, and then I'll go quiet again for a long time. And, that's because, I'm looking for, particular things, right? I don't want to just talk about just anything, right? I
Oh,
could,
that's
right?
for
Like
sure. I mean,
I
we could sit
could,
there and talk about anything. I mean,
I
but
could have 2, 3 people on every day, 7 days a week, but I'm not going to do that because I'm not learning anything from that. Like, what I'm learning now, Rob?
what
Just
are you
check
learning
this
from
out.
that?
I'm so happy. I really am. I'm just so happy. I got my books, and these are such beautiful books too. And this one's Modern Esoteric. I just started this one by Brad Olson. Right, I started this
Epic
one.
books, bro. Those are
Brad
epic,
Olson.
epic books. It'll make you change your view of the
Oh yeah,
world.
yeah, yeah, for
Like
sure.
it's that
Can't
kind of
wait
and that to me is another important thing. And that's kind of why we do I do what I do. I don't say we, but why I do what I do because foraging through this information gives you different perspectives that may have eluded you previous to that.
Oh yeah,
And that's
yeah.
sort of what I mean in competition with myself is to open up more and more and more to even just the universe itself and letting more of the universe into me by sort of facilitating the info, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I love the fact that we've created the groups, these communities that really have just blown my mind. Like, because
Hmm.
when, like in Telegram, when people start adding stuff to the chat, and it's not even something that I even had my eyes on, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wow, this person's really great that they just posted about, right? Like, and I
Hmm.
start to follow those people, and it gives me again their perspective, and I kind of catalog all those perspectives into my head. Like, it
Yeah.
sounds very weird, but
No, I
like
do
I
the same
catalog,
thing.
and then I try and see where that person may go next, and kind of like look at what they're doing, and like, wow, this is pretty incredible. You're like, it's pretty intense, and I kind of
Yeah.
follow their journey as well, and
Yeah.
like
Exactly.
vicariously live through that person. It's
It's
great.
kind of like what we're doing with Michael Feely, Paul Wallace, Stephen and Evan
Yep.
Strong, Brad Olson, right? Just to John Shaughnessy, just a few of them, but there's many like that I follow, and I try to get their books. For me, that's very important, is to get their books so that I can read their books, and then when I do my one-on-one talk with them, and they know that I've read their book, right? Or I have it right behind me, and I've read it, right? I read all of my books. But what I love about this is that I set this intention to get this series last year, and I've been saying it to myself like almost on a daily basis without fail. When I walk into the bathroom, I say, I love you to myself. I say, I'm going to get those esoteric series books today. And I've been saying that and saying that for like a little over a year. And then yesterday, this intention was fulfilled. And what I really love about that is all the talks that I've done with Brad about the looking glass, right? He always holds up this particular book and he points at the yellow cube and references
Yep.
the book. So next time I'm talking to Brad, I'm going to pull it out too. And kind of like you have Augie's book, right? You do the same thing. And
I got to get Brad on
really,
here too, because I love when Brad starts to really get fired up and
oh,
get
yeah.
into his like into what he knows, like deep down in his heart, and he just projects it out, and it's like
Oh,
so,
yeah.
it's incredible.
Yeah.
I like, I'm fans of those people like Brad and Paul and Stephen and Evan. Like, I love when they start to get into this information that sort of like they feel vested in, and they
Hmm.
feel like that, you know what I mean? Like, they're just,
Yeah.
and like we talk like Paul Wallace and say that we sit at their feet all the time, man. Like, this is, you know, and Augie too, and a bunch of people. And Augie's going to be
Mhm.
back, I think, on Monday on the show. I may pre-tape it and put it out later, but I'm having a conversation with Augie too, because I just can't get enough of those conversations with
Yeah.
these
Brad was
people.
on Broadcast Alpha team yesterday. I
Yeah.
caught that last night, and great talk. I try to catch everything that Brad does, because Brad's just
What a
he's just
circle we have, bro. What a
oh yeah,
circle.
oh, amazing circle to learn from, man. That's why our awareness is just continuously being increased, and everyone that watches us, they raise our awareness as well, because this crowd, man, it's there's smart people that come in here and share stuff.
Beyond smart.
Oh yeah,
They
I love
And
them.
that's what I'm saying about with the community, man. It's just, it's so, like, I have such deep gratitude for that, because it really
Mhm.
is just, it's a bunch of people helping each other out with information, and we're all just doing our part. And it really
Yeah,
is just,
trying to
I
figure
can't,
shit out.
yeah, man, it's really what it is. And I can't say enough about
No.
it, because it just, it's always something epic. Like, I haven't seen something in the chat that I wasn't like, holy shit,
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
pretty
exactly.
crazy.
Yeah, I always watch the chat. It's one of my favorite things, right? Because you have the show over here, but then you got another show over here, and you got like two shows
It's
going on
so
at the
true.
same time. And
The best is when we get to be like, I get to be in your chat, and then you come in, you're like into my chat. I
yeah,
love those moments, because when
yeah,
I'm
me
in your
too.
chat, I almost like, I've listened to you enough over the years that I know where you're going when you say things.
Yeah,
So I
yeah. You
wait to
want
see if
the
yeah, if everybody else is confirming that I like that I know where it is, and they
yeah.
know where it is, and it's really fun. It's like a really, it's a game. It's like a game,
So
but it's
here's
informational.
here's something new, right? We'll do a little exercise, right? Our eyes, we can only see, just a, not 0.5% of what's actually is in front of us, right? So we have a very limited a range of visual spectrum on what we can see and what we can't see, right? But we can see everything with our third eye, right? With our inner eye. Now, I discovered this a little while back. My brother and I were talking about it, and you know, this is how you look at your energy, right? Because we know that we're energy, we're made of energy. So when we go like this, we can't see our energy, right? It's just our limited scope. It's just that we can't see it. But what we can do is when we close our eyes, right, and then give it a nice squeeze and allow your eyes to rest. Now, inside that, as your eyes are closed, you'll see colors like an ambient color, right? An ambient color. We'll try that here in a couple of minutes, but I want to explain it first. You see this ambient colors that change, right? It's not static to one particular color. It changes from depending on your mood, right? Kind of like a mood ring, right? On how relaxed you are, how excited you are, or whatever, right? It's just, it depends on your state of connection to consciousness, and then your body aura reacts to that, right? So when we close our eyes, okay, guys, ready? So let's take some deep breaths. All right, so let's take like 3, 4, 5, 6 deep breaths so that you're just relaxed, right? Just sit there, just regularly. You don't have to do anything exciting. Just sit there and just breathe and just kind of relax, and then close your eyes and then give it a squeeze, right? Give your eyes a squeeze for a couple of seconds and then let go, right? And then just allow your eyes to just relax and just relax, and you'll see colors. You'll see an ambient fluence
I
of
see
color.
squares, like squares.
Yeah, an
That was
ambient
weird,
color.
like outlined squares. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
crazy. And white
That's your
too. They're outlined in white. And then there's like dark. I don't know if there's dark in it, but like in the shadow around the white.
uh, yeah, and when you look at it, it disappears, kind of like a floaty,
Yeah.
right? So if you just
Yeah.
stay still, you don't even have to close your eyes. Like when I close my eyes like this, I see like yellow and green and blue, right? Just like that. Then I can
Well,
move,
it's
and
hard
then
with the lights on us right now.
yeah,
I
and
got
it
my light
moves with me.
directly into my eyes too, which could
Yeah,
probably be the computer screen that's
and
kind of
that's your
reflecting.
yeah, and that's your energy that you're looking at. Even in the darkness, that's the best place to do it because there's no, you know,
Right.
interference from artificial light. But when you do that, then you can see that ambience of color, and then that's you, right?
It's like getting knocked in the head. Sometimes when you get knocked
Yeah,
in the head, it happens like that. You're like, oh,
yeah, that's your
what the
energy that
hell?
you're looking at, like your true essence of like your natural state of what you actually are. And I just learned that, and I've been trying it and practicing it and playing with it, because as we were talking before we went live about the observer mode, right?
Hmm.
And I began practicing this observer mode years ago, and it's because I got tired of just doing drywall, right? It's just that it's just such good money that it just keeps you going back to it, right? So what I did was I just began to like just simply visualize myself in the beginning, right? I put myself in a certain corner of the room that I was working in, and I would stand there and I would visualize myself, how I looked, right? What I'd look like from my back, my feet, my shoes, to every detail. And then after a while, when I began thinking like that, it's just suddenly begins to happen. It's kind of like an out of body experience, like 3D, 4D, 2D, like all at the same time. It's happening to the point now where it's almost like I'm in that state constantly, to where I can see my back and I can see my front all at the same time. And then once you put yourself into that observer mode, I think the benefits of that observer mode is that, one, it brings the stress down, right?
Oh, big time.
In your life. And once you bring the stress down, then that's really good for your health, obviously, but it's good for your spiritual health as well. Because once your stress levels are down, then you have that barrier that you've brought down, and then now you can begin to access, that
It's like
con-
a non-emotional state. You're just
yes,
literally
you
like you're
just
not even reactive. You're just like,
yeah,
hmm.
You're
I,
watching like
I I get that all the time, like at work too,
yeah,
where
yeah, that's the best
people
place
are
to
just moving and going, and I'm like,
yeah, and you're interacting with them, but you're still,
sort
watching
of. You're
yourself
sort
and
of interacting with them.
yeah,
You're not completely like in that back and forth type of
yeah,
interaction. You're just kind
yeah.
of making eye contact and watching how they maneuver and move, and you're just kind of really you're taking it in because it's fascinating to see.
Hmm.
I'm a people watcher. Like when I go out in public, I don't know if people think I'm staring at them, but I watch people. Like I watch movements, I watch body language. I've studied a lot of
Hmm.
body language, so I try and see if I know what those people are either feeling or are doing by by just watching. And that
Hmm.
it's difficult, but it's a lot of fun too. Like I really enjoy it, believe it or not. It's
Yeah,
kind
I
of
like
strange.
people watching. I like bird watching too. Bird watching is
Yeah.
really, really cool. I like going sitting on the river trail and just sit in the trees and
Have you
just watch
connected
the
to any
bird.
birds like recently on the nature trail, like watching,
No, I usually try not to, right? I just want to go and just watch
observe?
them, right? I just want to watch them. I don't want to share my energy. I don't want their energy. I just want to, just be content in being in their environment, right? And seeing them and their natural, natural, right? I don't want to interfere with that, right? I don't want to give them food. I don't want to take away any food. I don't want to, direct them anywhere. I just want to
Right.
watch them because, I like that with people as well, right? With cultures, especially, when I used to travel, I, number one thing was to go and observe the culture, right? Just to watch how people carry themselves, how they behave, how they talk, right? Because it changes from
That's
region
the
to region,
best.
country to
That's
country. Oh yeah, yeah.
fascinating to
I
watch
love
that,
that.
bro.
Yeah, like almost like anthropology, right? But not really. It's again, it's trying to understand consciousness, right? Because when I
Right.
look at someone, I'm seeing them as myself, right? That's how I see people. I see them as myself, just having that different experience. And I wonder to myself, I wonder what this person's story is, or I wonder what that person's story is. And
All the time. I do it all the
yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah. I wonder where they come from. Oh, I bet that guy's got a lot to tell, because you can just see it on their face, right? That they've got that, hard life experience
Yeah.
behind them. And I like that kind of stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
Walking
I
down the
like going to
street.
sites too. Like even
Yeah.
if they're not like super known, like ancient sort of sites, like even just like a small cave or a hut that's broken down in the woods, and you try and like I literally try and close my eyes and feel the energy to like a palpable point, and like
Hmm.
really just like take in what I'm feeling in this place and see if I can figure out exactly what has happened, or like from the different energies that I'm feeling, if I can put a story together for that place. And
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
and then I'll go back on it and see if I was right, if my intuition was like appropriate with what I was feeling.
Yeah. What I love doing, it happens spontaneously. It happens sometimes, not all the time, but I love it when Amy and I be walking down the street and, we'll have a case of beer or, an 8 pack or something, and we'll go sit on the river, or we'll see some people, right, just sitting there, and we'll just go up to them and say, hey, can we sit down here and drink some beer with you guys? And, sit there and drink beer with them and, listen to their stories, right? I like that when they tell you things, right? Because it's easier to talk to a stranger than it is to someone right?
Absolutely.
So when you're sitting on the beach, no one's around, you're just sitting there by yourself and got a 6 pack, and you share a 6 pack with somebody and talk some game back and forth. That's to me, that's experience, right? That's life, where you're enjoying it to its fullest, right at the ground level, right? Talking with the homeless, or someone who's addicted to drugs, or like the other day, I'll tell you this, man. The other day, I like Corona beer, right? And I don't got time to go to a bottle
Do you
depot.
like it with a lime? You put a little lime in there, or you just leave
I
it as
don't
is?
care. I just down it. Amy likes the lemon and the lime stuff in it, right? But I just down that stuff, right? It's swill to me.
That's how
Anyways,
it is.
Yeah, I had like my closet. My closet was just full, right? From the summertime. It's fucking, I had like literally had like 30 cases of Corona and fucking bags of just empty cans of beer and just sitting there and sitting there. And I was coming home the other day and I saw this guy rummaging through the garbage. And I was like, yo, bro, you want some bottles? Right? Because I want them out of my closet, right? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, well, you're going to need a cart or something, man. He's like, no, I can carry them. And I was like, no, bro,
I don't think so.
you're going to need a cart or something, man. So he comes back half hour later and he's got a cart and loaded up his cart. And I was like, all right, off you go, man. I'll see you for round two.
I'll see you in a few months. Come back and grab the rest of them.
I know he came back. He came back. He went to the bottle deal because it's not that far from here. It's like maybe
How
10
much did he
blocks.
make off of it? Was it a lot?
I'd say probably scored maybe $150, right?
Yeah.
125
Wow,
bucks,
bro.
$150 or something. And yeah,
That's
he
a
was
lot of
happy as
cans, bro.
he was happy as pig and shit because he just got hooked right up, right?
Right.
And that's living life, right? And so I stood there and I talked to him and found out why he's where he's at, and got his story. And he didn't want to be too divulging, right? Because
Right.
he's got trust issues, right? But he told me what he wanted to, and and I got what I wanted out of it. So I was like, all right, man, have a happy day and carry on. And
That's the best when things come together like that, and you're helping, but you're also facilitating something that needs to get done too. And this is that I believe that's
yeah,
kind of
bro,
where
it was like,
society is moving towards, is
yeah,
that service barter. As long as we all have
yeah.
what we need, we're good, right? Like,
It was like minus 30 that morning, bro, right? With
damn,
the wind chill, it was like fucking minus 30. And I just simply felt bad for him because he was out in the cold, right? So I offered the bottles just to get him into the doorway so he'd warm up. So I got him in the doorway, right? And I said, stand here, warm up, and I'm gonna go up and grab the bottles for you. So I just took my sweet time, But what was really cool is that when I was bringing the few cases down, another neighbor of mine from downstairs was walking out the door, I guess going off to work, and she had a hot cup of coffee in one of those thermos cups. And she gave him that thermos cup, and off she went. And that really made me smile. I was like, oh, check that out, man. There's like good people,
nice.
like everywhere. She recognized that he's homeless and it's cold out, right? That he could probably use some hot to drink. And she gave him the cup, and, and off she went, right? So I was really happy. I was really proud to be a human at that moment, right? Just to see that display of love, right? And
Acts of kindness,
understanding,
man. We need a lot
compassion.
more of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
lot
yeah,
more of
for
that.
sure. Everybody needs to do that. Everybody.
Yeah,
All right, man,
yeah.
we're hitting an hour and 2 minutes, so I think we're
Yeah,
kind
we're
of
just
done with
about it.
social
We're
food.
right here. We're right here. So
Yeah.
any last words, brother?
I'd say, read with me and go to bradolson.com or go to cccpublishing.com and grab, one of the esoteric books or all of them, and read it, and let's share notes and try to understand that. We've got a conference coming up, our winter solstice conference. 3 of 3, baby, third last one.
That's
We've done
it.
2 years, and this year's the final year. And we need your guys' help, though. That's the thing. We're doing our work over here in the back end, but you guys need to do a little front end work. So what we need from you is a 45-second to a 60-second video giving gratitude to the earth and to its people and to this biological entity in space, and to tell us what timeline you'd like to see, the abundance and the love in the timeline that you like to see. But you got to wrap it up all in like a minute and email that to us. And as the conference is happening on December 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, we're going to be featuring like about 90 speakers. And in between speakers, each speaker is going to be rapid fire, guys. So each speaker is going to be like 30 minutes. They're going to come up, they're going to do the same message, but just 30 minutes long instead of your guys' 1 minute. And what we'd like to do is put them into like batches of 3, right? So in between each guest, we want to play those videos so that it goes out into the world, that intention's out into the world, and we build that energy to what we want, right? And then we want to have the finale like that, right? So we need your guys' help, and we need you to send us like short videos, 45 seconds, a 1 minute long, that we can share in between each guest, and get you guys involved, right?
Yes.
In our shows, and in the conference, so you feel that you're a part of it. And
Well, you are, regardless, you
yeah,
are.
and then
But
we'll let you
we
know
want to see your
exactly.
faces in it too.
Yeah, and we'll let you know exactly what time your video is going to be played, because everything is going to be pre-arranged, right? Let's say Kristen sends in a video, and we say, all right, Kristen, he sent us a video, and we're going to play his video on day 2 between, 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock block. But in fact, even better, if you guys can, when you email the video, tell us on what day you want to see your video. 21st,
Yeah.
22nd, 23rd, what time you want to see your video, right? And then we'll try to facilitate that in between the guests, so that you can get your video at the time that you want, because you're going to be around,
Or a
instead
time you
of
can
us.
see it.
Yeah, instead of us figuring it out for you and then forcing you to be where you don't want to be at a particular time because you're busy doing work or doing whatever, holiday shopping, Christmas shopping, whatever. So we'll facilitate you just as you facilitate us. So send us a video, tell us what day, December 21st, 22nd, 23rd, where we're going to go from like 8 o'clock in the morning to like 8 o'clock at night, right? Or 7 o'clock in the
Bangers.
morning
Those
to
are
7 o'clock at
bangers.
night, something like that. And let us know. And we'd love to see you get involved like that. And it would just make our community just that much more stronger. Because when we go into the new year, then we understand what everybody's intention is and what they want. And then we can try to tailor our shows around that, and try to, really, put the energy into it so that it manifests itself. So that's really it. As I'm from Watchers Talk, and subscribe to my channel if you want. If not,
Links
that's
in the description. Links in the
yeah,
description. Go get it. And
yeah.
support Omar, because I support him 150,000%. And like I said, there's no more. He's one of the most thorough and well articulated researchers I've ever seen, ever in my life.
Thanks, bro.
I've taken a lot of cues from his research to prompt my own style of research. So, you know, again, we were just having a really nice conversation tonight, and I loved it because we agreed on some, we didn't agree on others, but that's the flow of life, that's the ebbs and flows, and that's we controlled our emotions, and we said, cool, man, I
Yeah, that's
appreciate your
the
view.
river.
And that's tolerating each other's points of view without jumping down each other's throats, and that's something that we have to see a lot more of, because
Mhm.
nobody has definitive proof of what is and what is not. Everything is speculation at this point. So be mindful and always bring it about with love. I love Omar. I love him to death. I'd do anything for him if I could. If he asked me, if he ever needed anything, I would be there in a heartbeat. But I would do the same for everybody else as well, because I feel that we are all in that last stage of love. We need to keep projecting the love and let it wash over this planet. So, with all that being said,
Mhm.
I'm Rob Yox. That's Omar from Watchers Talk, to say it properly. And yeah, we hope you have an amazing evening, the rest of this evening. And we'll see you all soon.
Yeah, just hang on, Rob. Yeah, just hang on, bro.
Yeah, man.
It's doing something here.
What happened?
Is it
You all
doing
right?
it?
I can still see you.
Yeah.
We didn't end the
Oh, is it
broadcast yet.
doing it? Okay, that's cool. Yeah, so go to Watchers Talk channel, and do your thing. Subscribe, don't subscribe, and you know here's contribution to Full Spectrum Universe.
Oh, you're the
You know,
best, bro. You
do
didn't
the
have to do
same.
that.
Support, guys. I
Look
do
at
it
that.
anyways because it's fun.
Super sticker. I know you do. I know you do. Don't worry. I'm going to
Throw
return the favor
$5
too,
into your
because
hat.
I want to support you as well in that way, and
Yeah,
and
I think
really
it's
be there
fun.
for each other. And I love this. I love what we do, brother, and I love you to death. And I'm just so appreciative of you, for sure.
Yeah, thanks, homie. This helps the algorithm, right? Because YouTube thinks it's making money, so it's going to push your channel, right? Because that's what it's all
You
about,
know,
right?
that's wild too, because after after the last couple of episodes, we had some people who did some super stickers, and then we had one where somebody didn't do a super sticker, and then I like literally didn't get seen by anybody. Like
Yeah,
usually, you'll
yeah,
get a
that's how it
subscriber
happens.
here and there. It was literally like at zero. Like they were just taking people away from my subscriber base. I'm like, this is
Yeah,
crazy. This is crazy. But I mean, it is what it is. People don't want to
yeah,
subscribe. They don't want to subscribe. I have no control over that. I'm just
yeah,
happy everybody's here. I'm
yeah.
happy
Same
we're
here.
all here.
My goal is try to reach as many people as we
Oh,
possibly can. And
absolutely.
if we got to
Absolutely.
manipulate the algorithm a little bit, then we're gonna manipulate it. Do what we
Yeah.
got. That's
That's
it,
what we're
guys.
trying to infect the AI with love. That's
That's
what we're
right.
doing. We're injecting
Exactly.
love into the AI. All right,
It's
let's
not all war and porn, guys.
that's right. That's
there's,
right.
there's
With
some
all
love
that
in the
being
world.
said, with all that being said, I'm coming to you from New York. He's coming to you from British Columbia, Canada.
We're
We
both
are
on Turtle
world.
Island. He's on the east. I'm on the west.
That's right. We're worldwide, baby. We're worldwide. We hope all of you have an amazing rest of the evening. We will see you next time on Full
Don't
Spectrum
forget to
Universe.
say, I love you to yourself. Don't forget that.
Damn straight.